Quarterback to Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX. This is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. Excuse me, and that's nice. Starting off the show with a good old cough. And I'm Carlos Brown. And I'm so honored and happy to have you with us today on Free For All Friday. Yeah, yes, I said it, Carlos Brown. I will explain that probably not on this show today, but next week. Some people want to know, hey, you look a lot like Carlos Brown. I said, well, God wouldn't make two guys that ugly. I am Carlos Brown, but I'm also Alan Autry. I'm actually told, anyway, long story, not that long, but I will tell it. It's in my upcoming book. I've been telling everything in the book. Don't need to write the book. You just listen to KXEX 1550, 12 to 1 o'clock.
Nobody will buy the book if you tell them what's in it.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm going to have trouble with it in it.
Why should I spend $17 on the book? You're going to tell me all
sell
about
it for $7 I wouldn't do that.
No?
Well, $16.95. You know, a man's got to eat.
Yeah, right.
Welcome, Bob. Robert Bullet Bob Leone, back by popular request. Man, they loved you, man. Well, people loved you. You got that little lovable, cuddly face.
Yeah, you have some great, loyal folks out there.
Do.
They're awesome.
Autry's Army, man.
Awesome. They really are.
Army, and we're growing bit by bit, brick by brick. All y'all out there, appreciate you so much. Slowly but surely, we are exponentially. Remember when Riley used to have the word of the day?
Yeah, I remember that.
Before he said the wrong word of the day to the wrong woman. Wasn't there anymore.
More than one.
Yeah, the phrase of the day should keep your hands to yourself. So here's why. But Guillermo Marino, freshly back from Viva Las Vegas. Welcome, brother.
It's great to be back. I was with the Republicans, and then I was in Vegas. No, I wasn't with. Maybe they were there. I don't know. I couldn't find them. But in Anaheim, I was at the Republican
convention. A lot
convention.
of Republicans per square inch.
In Vegas. Yeah,
in Anaheim.
Oh yeah. It was kind of weird. I mean, I don't know why the convention decides to the CRP, the Republican Party, decides to rent a hotel while Disneyland families are there. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, you're serious in there. You just heard a political speech, and then you have a little girl. Oh, I can't wait!
I want to go to the teacups.
It's just weird.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
I told you, Bob and I were talking back before the show. I'm convinced, COVID. Last 2.5 years, the entire planet has gone freaking insane.
Oh, it has. It's been
from the
crazy.
Government levels to the dinner table. It's just you're going to have to deal with this thing and come back to some. It's hard to believe that prior to COVID, that was kind of common sense normal with all the craziness going on. You still have, but you didn't have the defund the cop movement, all this stuff. But anyway, okay. Before we get started here. Our one of our heroes, Bobby, and yours, Thomas Sowell.
Yes,
he's a great economist, but I think one of the greatest philosophers of our time as well. Many great books. I recommend Basic Economics. You want to know how this whole economic thing works and be able to understand it? Go get his book, Basic Economics. And he was asked by Peter Davison there at the Hoover Institute why there's not a graph in there, because all these economic books have graphs all over the place. And he said, well, why don't you have a graph? He goes, because I want people to read it. and as other more, and it's really breaks down, what the Fed is, Wall Street, all this stuff to what you just need to know, the basics and the fundamentals.
But he said something, he said a lot of things that are very profound, but he said some things are accepted as truth because they can be demonstrably proven to be true. Other things are accepted as truth because they've just been repeated so often that you just accept it as true. Which brings me to my opening point. I think I've been victimized by this. And as Larry Powell comes on the show, he used the term inculcated. You get inculcated. Yeah. Meaning inculcation. You hear something and you just so many times start to believe it. And it's happened to me. He finally broke me down. I'm going to order Mike Lindell's Giza sheets, Giza's Dream Sheets, every 5 minutes on Fox. There's his smiling face. My Giza Dream Sheets, born with the cotton from where the Euphrates meets the mouth of whatever. They're the best sheets you'd ever, and I'm a sheet guy. Got to have good sheets. And I've been here and I'm going, so I'm going to do it. So at least when he's on there, I can talk back to him. I can say, all right, I got those Giza. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, I did it. That's right. I took the step. Preach it, Mike. Keep preaching, man. I want everybody to enjoy those Giza Dream Sheets like I slept under last night, especially stressful time. Or, come on, Mike. I bought some of those.
Ain't that good?
Oh, gosh, I was scratching all night. This Giza crap over there from the Euphrates, I tore that sucker up and gave it to Goodwill. Well, I would have gave it to Goodwill, but I don't want them to suffer through it. But at least I'll have it. But he's got me. I'm going to order them tonight. I'll let you know.
Remember what Larry Powell said about us, too? He goes, after a while behind the mic, you go crazy.
You think I've gone crazy?
We're getting there. I think all of us. Oh, maybe Bob's new. He's the only sane one in the room right now.
Well, it's Free for All Friday. You think you've seen and heard crazy. You wait till we talk about. Well, you know what? Dadgummit, let's go right into it.
It's Free for All Friday.
What? Let's go right into it.
To who?
Folks, if you haven't heard, President Biden has seen fit to create, now, hang on to your seat, the Ministry of Truth. And I'm here to say, Bobby, I have been nominated to be the regional director for Biden's Ministry of Truth. And Guillermo, what are you laughing about? I understand that you've been spousing some information that says that maybe Biden may be losing a little bit cognitively. Is this true?
Only from 4 to 7.
4 to 7. Excuse me, I must make a phone call. Look. Bobby, you said it back before the show. That's right out of the Nazi.
Pretty much.
It's a joke, right?
No. You've been in Vegas. You haven't. They launched it yesterday. They announced, and wait till you see the gal. Jeremy's got the this is going to seem like a Saturday Night Live skit.
I think I saw a logo, right? I saw a logo with.
I'm sure they got a logo. But here, what's her name? What's her name, Bobby?
Her name is the director of the new Disinformation Governance Board.
Yes, that's a proper name.
Which is the official name.
Disinformation Governance Board. Out of the Department of Homeland Security.
DHS. Yeah.
They have, there's only one department that has more guns to enforce their policies. That's the Department of Defense. So they put it under Department of Homeland Security. They got guns and the means to make sure the policies of this department are implemented. Go ahead, Bobby. Who?
Nina Jankowicz.
Nina Jankowicz
is her name.
Now, hold on your seats. We're going to play.
She's the director.
All right. Radio, you won't be able to see it. Social media, you're going to be able to just revel in the enjoyment of this. Here is the new head of the Ministry of Truth who's going to determine what you say, if what you say is disinformation punishable by law. She's going to be the adjudicator.
That's not her.
It ain't over yet. That is Nina Jankowicz. That is the new head of the Ministry of Truth. I'm speechless. 3 guys who won't shut up. We were in a room together. We'd spontaneously combust. Cannot have no words to.
I want to hear our Michigan State alum here. give us his take on what he just saw.
Radio, you can't see it, but he's just got this frozen little smile on his face. He does it for one time. Have you ever heard Guillermo ask a question and remain totally silent this long? But I empathize. I don't sympathize. I empathize.
Exactly.
This is freaking insane. Number one, that you even created a department.
I believe you, but I'm looking this up because Google doesn't lie to me.
Guillermo, you were there having a good time.
If it's on the internet,
I get it.
If it's on the internet, it's true. And this one happens to be true.
Well, they had the press conference last night. They're just tickled. They're like happy as a pig in crap that this gal is going to be heading up. They think she's the perfect person to head up a Nazi. It is. Let me tell you something. I'm going to go flat out and say it. This is a Nazi, this is Nazi methods through and through, top to bottom, over and out, inside and out.
Oh, yeah.
When you say you're going to have the Minister of Truth, and what is it, the board, some fans
Board of Disinformation.
Disinformation Governance Board.
Right. Which means the same people who told you for 2 years, whether you hate Trump or love Trump, that he was a puppet of the Russian government and told you that he was in cahoots and basically an operative, an asset, as they say, of Vladimir Putin, went to trial, was impeached on many of these phony charges. This gal was right in the middle of it, leading the charge on that. And she, spreading all of that disinformation, is now going to be the adjudicator on what's real and not real, and what we have a right to speak right on, and ironically, right on the heels of Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Coincidence, right? Yeah. It's coincidence. So this is going to be under the Department of Homeland Security.
Yes.
The same department that can't control the borders. And, I mean, they're doing a pretty decent job with the airlines, I guess. But they can't control the borders, but they want to control what truth is.
Exactly. And here's why this is so Department of Homeland Security. They will now have a department that can say what you just said right now is dangerous disinformation that threatens democracy in the United States and must be silenced.
Unbelievable.
They have that department there now. This can't pass Congress. What do you think, Bobby? I know you're loaded for bear on this, but we were talking.
There's no way. And one of the things that I found really interesting is I read several different articles about this. Depending on who they asked about what the function of this governing board was going to do, you got different answers. Now, maybe they have combined them all into one, but for example, the White House says the Disinformation Governance Board is to combat disinformation on COVID-19 and elections.
Yeah.
Now, you talk,
keep going. I'm sorry. Yeah,
you're
just hearing this for the first time, Guillermo.
I am, yeah.
So your guffaws, your stuff, those.
So that's the White House. So that's the White House.
Okay.
Mayorkas said DHS is focused on the spread of disinformation in minority communities. Okay, that's two different definitions of what this group's going to do. I'm not saying they won't do all of this, but here's the third one: to rebut human smuggling organizations peddling misinformation to exploit vulnerable migrants for profit. So you have three different definitions of what this governance board is supposed to be overseeing.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
And
can you read that last one real quick about the human traffickers?
To rebut human smuggling organizations peddling misinformation to exploit vulnerable migrants for profit.
Okay, so we're not going to stop the human smugglers. We're just going to stop their advertising and marketing scheme.
Yes.
So they can still smuggle as long as they do it truthfully.
And you cannot blame any of it on Biden's policies. That's disinformation. You can't say that the repeal of Title 42 is going to create a surge, although every sane person in the world knows that it will. You utter that on the internet or on a radio show like this, you could be in trouble with it.
Now they haven't, as I read the
I'll be watching you all. I'll be watching you. I needed the job. They called. I said, "Hey, Rinse do."
I have ways of making you talk.
Yes.
The further I read, it doesn't specifically say at this point, and they may be developing these laws further. It doesn't say what kind of teeth that the DHS will have in enacting any kind of
policy
that would affect whoever's making the statement. So I guess the other thing is there was. Remember a few weeks ago when you were told that you got canceled by Facebook for a week because there was something that you said on YouTube.
Well, I got canceled on Facebook.
I think it was something I said.
Thanks a lot.
There we go.
So you're guilty by your friends' associations too.
So if
I'll gladly go to prison with you.
Thank you.
If you think that was an overreach and an intrusion, now you have the federal government involved in exactly the same type of.
It's scary.
I won't be able to fly,
Bobby. This is a scary story. You said, well, there's no teeth, and there's, you. Right now, this is the beginning.
Right.
But remember when the Patriot Act, all of these things, this policy, this law that they used to go in and spy on American citizens with no court order, whatever. That's what Bush did with the Patriot Act. It was meant to catch people that fly planes into buildings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what the law was for. Look what it has morphed into since 9/11. The most intrusive arm of government to go out against the enemies of the administration, who they consider enemies of the administration, whether it be a border issue, an education issue with CRT. Hey, these people are terrorists down at the Loudoun County School Board. Okay, we need you, sick 'em, Attorney General. They're terrorists. They're using that law to allow the attorney generals and other departments to go out and do these things.
Let's take a step back, because I always try to figure out why Democrats do what they do and why liberals do what they do. Why? Why do they feel it's so important? I mean, COVID, no offense, kind of over. And I know that's open to interpretation. I'll probably get canceled for that. And elections. Like, would you really think people care that much?
Because if you can't beat the message, you have to beat the messenger.
And that's what it is. It's knowledge.
They're afraid.
They
cannot defend their positions. They don't want to defend their positions because they know in many cases it's indefensible. You want to teach sex to a kindergartner? You want to tell somebody, we used to call them tomboys. You know how many tomboys now have families with a bunch of kids? They were little girls that like to play boys' sports. They like to play even football. Now that would be a red flag, would meet a counselor going, so you like to play football. Are you sure you're a girl? Folks, Alan, it's happening.
No, it happened yesterday. We have a good friend, and I'll be a godparent soon, and I think she's 5. And she went home and asked our friend, can two girls be married together? 5.
Here's the point. And I know we tread into very dangerous. Look, to me, a school, whether a man marries a man or a woman's a woman, we all make our own determinations on that. That's my feeling. The school site and the school administration should have nothing to do with advising that kid about any kind of marriage. And they said, well, if it was heterosexual. No.
I agree.
I don't want them telling my kid, well, you need to be married. My son, you need to be married by the time you're 30, or you need to find yourself a good girl to get married. No, that's not your job.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them math, history. My goodness, we have the worst scores around almost in the country. I mean, in the world, in the developed world. Our kids can't read at grade level. They can't do math at grade level. And all they want to do is dumb those things down under the guise of equity. Well, you can't succeed. The minors can't succeed, so let's bring all the level down. This is going on while you're trying to tell, this system has been doing it for a long time, because you see the higher education system is where all of these crazy ideas, it didn't start in college. It didn't start in the Ivy League. It didn't start in these far woke campuses, which dominate, including your alma mater and my alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there for years, eating away to where common sense and basic American values are, if not totally absent, are the minority.
Yeah.
And it started in the indoctrination. Bobby, what's your thought? We're going to take a break here in a second, but I want to hear your thoughts before we take this.
Well, Well, that's a lot of ground you
It
just
is.
covered
It
there.
is. Well,
What do you want to hear first? Marriage?
Well, I got triggered. You know, that's one term I like. To me, it really. I think it came out of the woke world, but it's one of those things I like.
Yeah, I get triggered too.
One
Fresno.
I think we'll keep that for a few decades. Triggered.
I like that.
You know, I got triggered.
Okay.
Sorry, we were triggered. We were triggered.
Again,
I got a little bit pissed off.
Again. Well, you I'm not worried about. You're a young guy, but he's an older fella. He can't afford to get too triggered because you never know what kind of help.
I don't ever retreat.
What kind of help?
I don't retreat. Well, you know why I don't retreat? Because I can't run. I just stand right here. Hey, Roy.
Am I killing enough time so I don't have to answer that question?
I'm giving you time.
Oh,
I'm ruining my reputation here.
Well,
I'm giving you time.
Which one do you want me to answer?
Well, just
covered a lot of
free for all Friday.
I mean,
what do you mean? I'm not going to tell you what. That's tyranny. I don't tell you what to think and say.
Well, wait. I'm going to check it before he says it because it might be misinformation.
Well, I am the minister of the truth. I am the Central Valley representative of the truth minister. I would like you to respond on the CRT. Or do you support it?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I read an article.
I can tell you're not supportive. I must make a phone call. Go ahead.
I read an article this morning since we're talking about indoctrination of children. And there was this fellow who happened to be.
Yes. Yeah, I do not need the receptionist. I need the new head of the Ministry of Truth. I think
there's somebody banging at the door to get in here to get me, I think.
I have a subversive character, Fresno Calanon, otherwise known as Bobby Bullet Leone. Very, very dangerous.
Oh,
very dangerous to the mission. Okay, Bobby.
I should have gone to play golf.
It's a little bit of smart decision. I don't know. Pick one. I got triggered.
With regard to what's been in the news so much lately, and you guys touched on it with young children being indoctrinated, I read an article about a kindergarten teacher who just happens to be gay, and he was confused. He was in Florida with the new Florida law, and he was confused as to, he was afraid to say anything because of the new Florida law, and he didn't know how to approach his students with regard to telling him about his husband.
He's in kindergarten. It's
kindergarten teacher. Regarding telling them about his husband and their lifestyle and those types of things. And I thought, that has no place in a kindergarten classroom. Just teach them how to, write their name or whatever they do in kindergarten nowadays. But he was very much upset because he didn't know what to tell him. I thought to myself, just teach your class.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What, and he was.
Well, say, how about this?
Very worried.
How about this? We should talk to your parents about it. How about you just say that?
Yeah. Well,
when's the last time you heard that? Used to be said a lot.
Yeah.
When things were brought up in school back in my days, back in the 1800s. That was really taught in the schools to, tell your parents. Talk to them about that. We don't talk about that at school.
We didn't know the marital status of our teachers in grammar school. Now that's an old world term.
And here, before it gets too carried away, we'll go to break in. And if you leave something hanging when we come back and want to talk about it, I'm all for hanging on this subject. But we want to get into Elon Musk with Brahma if he has. But I want to leave with this. For those of you out there who think that I'm anti-gay, let me tell you, one of my dearest friends passed away, Howard Ronalds. He was openly gay. He was one of the finest human beings I ever met in my life. He always treated my mother, who came to the set, like his own mother. And he was gay. I wasn't. We'd have discussions a little bit about it, but that wasn't what we dwelled upon. And for those of you, and there's a friend of mine, he's not from the South, he's out here, and I never forget him, says, there's just something about gay people. I just don't want to, I just can't be around. I don't know what's going on. I said, that's a pretty big, Alan, I can't help it. I can't. I said, well, let me give you a scenario here. You got getting open heart surgery because he was scheduled to have open heart surgery. And I said, you got a choice of two doctors. The one doctor is a straight doctor. He's straight. Okay. Got married, 5 kids. He finished 180th in a class of 200 in med school. But you got another choice of a gay doctor who finished at the top of his class. He's done about 100 of these operations, and they've all been successful. The other guy's 80%. Free throw percentage in NBA, that's good. Heart surgery, no. Which one do you pick? You think you could be in the operating room with a gay man then? He just got. I was having a good brain day. It just came there. I normally don't really catch it.
That must have been years ago.
But my point is, there's more to somebody than their sexuality. You have a disagreement, whatever. Don't let that define that individual in your mind. Or if you're that person, don't define yourself solely by that. That's why I don't say I'm a straight man, or I'm a talk show host, or I'm an actor, or I'm a football player. Or I'm a child of God. That's my identity. And you start identifying yourself by your gender, not even as a husband and a father. Very important roles we play, but that's not who we are. Who we are is something bigger than that, deeper than that.
Yeah.
And we all have that precious thing in common because God all looks at us the same and loves us all the same. We'll be right back. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, with Bullet Bob and Guillermo. And it's rumors that Elon may not be buying Twitter. And that's we're going to talk about that. And also the NBA playoffs.
Are they happening?
I didn't even know. You texted me. And all right, I guess they're happening.
Well, LeBron's not in it.
Who's that?
LeBron loves his money. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, also known as Carlos Brown. We'll be right back. Isley Brothers. Now, just jumping in. I'm all over here. So just, you guys got something that you want to bring, pop in, and let's do it.
No, I think we're very topical. I like where we're headed. I just want to get up to speed with what's the latest with Twitter.
The Ministry of Truth?
Yeah.
With Twitter. Yeah, that was just some of the analysts on. I guess he has a history of getting excited about things.
And then not buying it?
I think.
Well, that would be disappointing.
Well,
it would be.
I think he's too far down the track on this thing. He would lose a lot.
Well, didn't he buy? I thought I read somewhere he bought that for more than the thing was actually worth. The common stock was actually worth, and then he's going to privatize. And that's what the biggest fear is, that he's going to make it a private company, and they can't control him.
And his deal is let anybody on.
Can you bring up Elon's tweet that you sent me? Did you send it to me? Or Jose did? Elon Musk tweeted where he is politically. No, I'm sorry, someone else did. Can you bring up Elon Musk's Twitter? And I'm looking for this one right here.
Well, what I read, he's given to both the major parties, because his feeling is that you can't get anywhere in American politics unless you contribute to the cause. And when you've got the kind of money he does, when you contribute to the cause, you get a voice.
And he feels everybody in the world should be able to tweet that they believe. That'll get you in trouble in some countries.
In fact, an interesting comment that I got from this Nina Jankowicz. She's not a big Musk fan.
Oh, no, I saw that.
She called Musk a free speech absolutist. Well, that's what Musk called himself.
Yes.
At the same breath.
Take that.
That's what he said about himself. Nothing new there.
Oh, you free speech absolutist.
I'm trying to see if that's an actual tweet by him.
What is that?
It's basically him saying he's moving to the right politically.
He's right at the center now.
Yeah. Or he was at the center.
That's so like him. I hope that is from him.
So I'm getting it verified to make sure that was his tweet.
Let Bobby look at that. Look at that bullet. Yes, that's a great tiger.
I guess he can be anywhere he wants to be.
With that amount of money, he could be crazy.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for the guy. He's still got $230 million in the bank. A billion in the bank.
Billion, yeah.
$230 billion in the bank after buying Twitter.
Yeah, he's not gonna jump off the building.
Well, let me jump in with the knowledge and how this all ties together with Twitter.
You jump whenever you feel like jumping.
You just love to hear you.
Did you hear this? This comedian out in New York, Austin was doing. He's this far left comedian. But it's really against the mask mandates how far they've gone. He does this routine. He goes, I don't want to go there, but you're pushing me. You're pushing me to the right.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
We're going to slow it down now. It's free for all Friday now. Pull the Bob Leone. Go Guillermo Marino. Do not miss his show. 4 o'clock every day. Sound a little bit like Barry White.
You do.
I love this song though. Just get on board. Just thank the Lord. Oh yeah, that makes my songs up. Did a little mix.
You ought to hear Sam Cooke do that song.
Really? Oh, we'll play it. We'll play it on the song. We break all the rules on Free for All Friday.
He does a killer
on this show. Period. And I tell you, when I got the email, and I don't find it a bit funny. This is not Freak for All Friday.
Who said that?
Yeah, you know who you are.
I take that personally.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. Yeah,
because it'd be me.
Well, yes, I'm the one up here just trying to Freak for All Friday. Why am I sounding like Kramer on Seinfeld all of a sudden? It's all right. Let me tell this joke. I'm going to blow it, but my son was telling about this comedian in New York about the mask mandates. You see this on the left a lot, like Bill Maher. Stop it with the nonsense with the masks. You follow the science. The science says, be outside. The masks don't do anything. So this comedian, I guess a local guy, he goes, you folks, I'm with you. I'm on your side, Fauci. I'm on your side, liberal. I'm a liberal. I've been liberal my whole life. I'm woke. Don't push me. You're pushing me to the right. You're pushing me to the right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Lock her up. Lock her up.
That's so true. That is so true, though.
Now, that is brilliant stuff. You see some great comedy, although it's like the Comedy Store in L.A. and in New York that you never see on TV. Okay, you had something you were jumping out of your Spartan sweatshirt to say.
This is a war on knowledge on every single front. It's a war on knowledge, and it has been, I believe, probably since 2016, since the presidential election. It is a war on knowledge, and we're late, by the way. We're like Biden sending stuff way too late. The conservatives are, because this war on knowledge really started probably about 10 or 20 years ago in the classroom. Then it morphed into this war on knowledge in media, which is why you have all this censorship. Now it's actually going to be a war on knowledge with the government coming together with its Ministry of Defense, or defense of bad misinformation. But when you think about it,
get the title right.
Yeah. How you can do that with a straight face every time is very impressive.
He's an actor.
See how straight your face is.
He's in character.
When the guest, wait, I think I hear something. Well, here's Guillermo Marino. Go ahead, start. I beat that joke to death already.
I'm gonna make a promo out of that. but it's a war on knowledge.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
by knowledge you mean truth.
True. Well,
real truth.
Well, here's the thing.
True.
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay if someone lies to you?
It's their right to do so.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I don't know why Google, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube feel that they have to be the gatekeeper of that. That unfortunately, you can lie. I mean, it's not recommended, but you have a freedom to do that. You can't do any of that in some of these countries. So I don't understand why you can't just allow people to. I'm not saying just go ahead and lie. And I'm not saying that what conservatives do is lie, but you have a right to say whatever you want. Well, but there are constitutional parameters. You can't yell fire in a theater, but those basic parameters should stay, and everything else, you figure it out.
Well, don't you think this modern time, 2022, is the beginning of the necessity, if you want to keep a democracy, of an informed electorate? We're going to have to work harder. We're going to have to do more homework to find out the truth, because you could sit here and listen to Liz Cheney say President Trump he's responsible for January 6th. Okay. And they think that, and you could have Jordan, or Josh Hawley saying, no, he said peacefully, go make your opinions known. Each one will say the other one's lying. So isn't it, Bobby, incumbent on us to say, okay, I've got to look into this further, exactly what happened. They said that 5 people were killed by Trump. Trump was responsible. When the only one was killed was Ashley Babbitt by a police officer. So they never talk about that. So aren't we going to be required to find the truth of that? Because what one person says is a lie, the other one's truth. When there's truth, the other one is a lie to the other person.
Well, you know the old story, there's two sides to every nickel, but the truth lies somewhere in between. And it's incumbent upon the electorate, us, everyone, to dig in, hear both sides, and then find out what the reality and the truth is. And truth is anymore anybody's reality, quite frankly. But to find out what the real truth is. You have to work. You have to be cognizant of what's going on around you. You have to research. You have to look at multiple sources. But you just have to become informed.
And it's sad that we have to do that, but it's just a necessity.
It is now.
If you think truth is necessary to maintain a democracy.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the new normal, right, Guillermo?
Listen, if you've listened to my show,
I do.
I have the intro.
I love it too.
And a great actor says, "You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." And the reality is, for so long, I think that the left feels that they can't. And you said it perfectly. They can't defend their arguments, so they're going to morph this terminology of truth. And there was a very telling event that Kamala Harris showed up, and we covered it. She was talking to a college class, and it was some student said, "Hey, well, don't you think what Israel is doing? They're occupying land that's not theirs." And it was clearly that the student was way off. Like, Israel is not occupying land. I mean, it's a sovereign. And she goes, "You know what? I respect your truth." And then she kind of just sidestepped it. But instead of saying, "Hey, listen, no, actually, Israel is sovereign," and going to the facts, she said, "No, it's your truth." And I had a friend one time tell me, "Guillermo, if I believe it to be true, it's true." I was like, "No, it's not. If you think the sky is
that's an ideology, by the way.
Is it?
Oh yeah, that's an actual system that you make up your own truth. The relativity, whatever is true, whatever you feel is true is true. If you think that big fireball up in the sky at noon's the moon instead of the sun, it's true.
It's mind-boggling, but this is where we're at. This is now the war on information. I don't know why the Biden administration has felt it that this is. I mean, we gotta get. You got gas prices. You have inflation. You have national security. You have the world. You have hunger. You got homelessness. You got all these problems. But somehow you think that it is so imperative for your administration to be the truth keeper. Here's the other thing. Who is the arbiter of truth in our lives? It would be a courtroom, right? You get two parties together.
Best chance. That's not flawless, but it's your best chance.
It's your best shot. Yeah. And I mean, people spend money, time, hours, days to get down to the truth. You're telling me our government is going to be that judge that quick on everything to find out?
Because truth is not the goal of the truth ministry.
Yeah.
It's not. It's to advance an ideology.
It's control and power.
I'm triggered.
Exactly.
Control and power.
Yeah. Consider yourself fully
triggered again.
Triggered. Yeah. No, it's obvious what that is. Nazi Germany, it wasn't to give truth information about what was going on. It was, it started with, that Reichstag fire, which gave that big boost to Nazi Germany, Hitler. It was blamed on the communist who Hitler hated had set that the Reichstag buildings it would be like our capital here.
That was what, 1933 or
something
34,
around that,
35,
yeah.
Something like that.
And there was this
36.
big fire, and he was fighting the communists. He said the communists did it. People believed him. The Ministry of Truth said it was the communists. But then years later, you have almost universal unanimity that it was started by the Nazis to blame it on the communists so they could coalesce power and get rid of the communists. And that's what this Ministry of Truth. It wasn't about the truth who really started the fire.
That's true. That's a good point.
It was furthering their agenda to control Germany and then eventually control Europe and then the rest of the world. But you like you said, doing this research, how far do you go back on to say who is? And I'm speaking in particular of the war in Ukraine. You go back so many years. Well, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Chernobyl, as we talked about the other day, in Chernobyl, we remember that very well, the nuclear power plant. It wasn't said, hey, this happened reported happened in Ukraine, it happened in Russia. So you go back so 100 years. Well, Ukraine was not part of the Russian Empire. Then you go back further, then it was. So where do you go back to cut off to say, okay, this is the way it should be, this geography? I mean, what if Mexico came up and said, you know what? We had Texas. We have California. You came in and took it from us. What if Mexico came in, suddenly became a military power and said, you know, this was not right. You came in this guise of manifest destiny, and you took a big old oil-rich part of our country, Mexico. Would they have a position? Would they have a moral foothold to go from? Even though I don't agree with that, you know. And then you look at Putin. And I'm saying no. I'd be dead set against giving Mexico because.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I would have to say, Mr. Obrador, there in Mexico, you do have a point. It needs to be a valid point to be considered, because let's don't go to war over this. Let's try to figure this stuff out. Is there a way to go? That's not happening in Ukraine. You have $33 billion going on. And here's the interesting thing about this. I'm shifting gears here, then I want to hear what you got. Because we can't have a show without the Ukraine. You know, they talk about these sanctions. There's been 14 billionaires sanctioned in the Ukraine by the United States. There's been 45 billionaires that have not been sanctioned. So
in Russia, you mean?
In Russia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In Russia. Sorry. Thank you. So who's determining who gets sanctioned or not? One who's not sanctioned is a fellow named Vladimir Yatoshenko, who is a big defense contractor. Okay?
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
I guarantee you, Raytheon, BlackRock have money in this thing. Not only that there's a lady named Elena Baturina. Elena Baturina is a billionaire oligarch. She's not been sanctioned, but it gets better. She's the former wife of the mayor of Moscow, who sent the $3.5 million.
Of course.
Okay. To a consulting firm founded by Devin Archer, who's now in jail. And guess who was David Archer's partner in this investment? None other than Hunter Biden. So you look at this, folks. Ukraine is a dirty country. Russia's a dirty. The money, this defense contracts, and here's a lot of things people don't know. You know that $33 billion, which is more than the entire budget, not just defense budget, but entire budget of almost 90% of the European countries? $33 billion was sent over there. And they said it's for the long haul. You know how long that's going to last? 5 months.
That's it?
33 billion last 5 months?
That's what they call the long haul. This is how they lie to people. You have to do a little research. You don't have to spend hours on the internet. You just have to dig a little bit. Like Laura Fisher goes up there and you find these things. Then you start saying, wait a minute. There's a whole different other agenda rather than the freedom of Ukraine by the United States government. And these things should startle people. Now, what better way, once you're being found out about these egregious things, than to create a ministry of truth? To silence me, silence anybody else that would have an issue like this. Because, as you said, Guillermo, they can't defend this. They can't come on a show.
No.
And I ask Lloyd Austin or Anthony Blinken, why you're telling people this is for the long haul? Did you tell them it's 5 months? Did you make that out there and open and emphasized? So I throw it to you guys.
Based on a recent statement by the UN, which I think was yesterday or maybe this morning, they said this war could last for years. It could go on for years. Well, I don't think it will, but it's
like COVID. It's going to be here for years and years. Always going to be with us.
Yeah. Well, even if it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, but when they say it could last for years, what does that mean? Does that mean
a lot of people are going to make a lot of money?
Over
that's a good point.
5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I don't. They were in Afghanistan for 12 years.
Guillermo, you didn't see this, but Blinken and Austin were almost giddy announcing this $33 billion. because they're tied to these defense firms, and when they retire, which will be soon, they're going to leave Joe Biden twisting the wind after this midterms and the Democrats get wiped out. They're gone. They're going to go. They're setting the stage to get paid. Their kids, grandkids, great-grandkids will never have to work again.
Yep.
Because of these contracts that are going over there. Folks, it's got to mean something to you. You got to stand up. We were talking to some of the young bucks today. People like Jeremy, like Matt White here. Guillermo, that's why I say your voice has never been more important. You have the courage to get up and call this stuff out. It's just it's really evil stuff. That because you see these dead soldiers, you see the civilians, you see the kids being bombed, the maternity ward, Bobby, being shot. And the thing is, let me ask you this: has anybody, our administration, or in Europe, or in the Ukraine, I would say the closest one to get to it to making this statement or asking this question, Zelensky, and he hasn't. What defines victory in Ukraine?
For Ukraine?
No, this conflict, how do you say, okay, victory has been won? Austin came close, said, well, when you grind the Soviet Union into dust, and they can never do what they did before. You're talking about the second most powerful military in the world. So that's the plan? That's how you're going to define victory? You didn't do that in Vietnam, we lost. You didn't do that in Afghanistan, we lost. Didn't do that in Iraq, we lost.
Well, when he said that, because he said that, right?
He says the Ukraine
when he and Blinken were there last week.
So Ukraine can't do that by themselves.
Exactly,
they can't. So is he implying that, hey, listen, we're probably going to get involved at some point?
Well, that's a rhetorical question, of course.
Yeah,
this is dangerous stuff, folks. I'm going to say it right now. Don't let them get away with it. I support Ukraine's fight for freedom. But if ever the truth has to be on the table, it's right now. Because I'm telling you, and it takes old guys like Bobby and I to tell you, I'm going to look you right in the camera right now. Listen on radio. This is exactly what happened leading up to Vietnam and our soldiers.
Yes.
Yeah. When you have Russia, which will open up and start bombing more, which they did in Kiev when the UN was there, we will use the guys that we have to protect Western Europe. The no-fly zones will be implemented. You're going to have all hell break loose there. And they'll feel they have no choice but to send American troops there. And it could be avoidable. You have nobody up there pursuing peace with the same vigor you're pursuing war. Bobby, what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm seeing the same exact thing in the escalation that led up to Vietnam.
Well, it certainly has a lot of parallels. That's for sure. Because when Vietnam first started, we just going to send a peacekeeping force. And this goes back to even the late 50s,
equipment,
even the late 50s and early 60s. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a peacekeeping force. As things developed over time, pretty soon Johnson's sending in, we're going to send in 10,000 more troops, but that should be enough for a while. Well, it was for a while, but eventually we ended up having almost 55,000 Americans killed over there.
And we knew 3 of them.
And we knew 3 of them. And it certainly has a lot of parallels to that. Right now we're going to hold off. We're just going to send, the munitions and the money. But when you start investing so much into a cause, pretty soon you feel like either you need to be more involved or you're going to get more involved because of those very investments and because of those very armaments. I mean, 33 billion more is going to last. What'd you say? 5 months.
And Putin's already called it a proxy war. And we have not denied that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Putin,
at this point.
Putin,
so let me ask you,
he doesn't care. I mean, he's going to be in for the long haul.
Exactly.
He got nothing to lose.
That's how the Russians fight.
Other than some manpower and some tanks.
Well, he doesn't have to ship things to Afghanistan. This is right on his border.
Right there.
You're going to beat a war of attrition, this dude? He's going to slowly, methodically, you talk about grinding in the dust? Yeah. And I tell you, these shipments of armaments come over. He's going to start hitting them when they come across Poland, across these other countries. He's going to start blowing them to smithereens.
The more he gets provoked by rhetoric, his Minister of Defense said last week, nuclear capability is not off the table.
Oh, I could see him using a battlefield nuke.
Yeah,
easily.
That's not off the table. He said if the West wants to keep pushing this thing, that's a possibility. And that's real scary. That's real scary.
Do you think, Guillermo, they're having these kind of conversations with the president? I don't even think this is being I don't think the military, Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex. You realize they had 51. That's how dirty it is. 51 high-level members of the intelligence community, current and former, that signed on to the letter calling the Hunter Biden laptop Russian misinformation when they knew it was not. 51 big shots in the military, chiefs of staff, generals. I say that because you think that they're leveling with the president?
No.
Who's just looking to try to get his next ice cream? Like Bobby just said, we could be pulled into this, Mr. President. If you do this, here's some of the possible scenarios. And there's one good one maybe, which is a long shot, and 9 others, and none of them are good.
We're living right now, Alan, in a very sensitive world. And you said it earlier. I mean, there's money involved. There's billions of dollars. There's connections. There's a swamp, the political swamp in D.C. Biden is just the headpiece. Putin is sitting over there. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Because when people need to understand that the Russian people might not be, too keen on this war, but if someone hits them, and if it's us, you're going to have that entire public opinion say you don't do that to us. So you have that whole factor playing in there. You got a guy in Vladimir Zelensky that doesn't want to give up. You have proxy coming in. You probably have the Chinese coming in on the backside, and the Biden administration and the Democrats. And I've said this before, they need something big to really just kind of shake it up and do a reset for them. That's another pandemic, or you're starting and you hit it on the money. They're on the brink of war or some escalation. Imagine if before 2024, this is why I said it's so sensitive that we have to send troops over there. Now we're into some other territory, and the Democrats say, hey, this is why you need Biden. This is why you got to stick with the team that we got.
Okay, we got about 2 minutes left. Bobby, is this, just look at this politically for the Democrats and Biden. Is this really a smart move if you expect to try to salvage some seats in the midterms to escalate this war?
Well, I don't think so, but they obviously and your point is interesting. Do they even talk about this? Are they even letting him know what's going on? That's a real good question.
Who's running this country? No, it's not Biden. And I don't mean to be mean, folks. I'm not being mean. You see him. The thought, I'm 69. The thought of 80 years old, being president, toughest job in the world. It's obvious. Who is running it? Is it Klain, his chief of staff, Susan Rice, who's yet to utter a word since he's been in office?
Mm-hmm.
And she is one of his chief advisors. Is it
Obama?
Is it? I think I think he has a big say. I think Obama's a survivalist. He's going to back off when things are going to come in and take credit when things are good. He's in the mode of, hey, wasn't things great when I was president mode. But I just don't see how this war benefits anyone. It is just like the Three Stooges out leading it, Lincoln, Austin, and Biden.
Perfect.
I hate to say that. I hate to be that blunt, but when lives are at stake, you kind of get on the fighting side of me. So anyway, thanks for joining for Free for All Friday. Not Freak for All Friday. Bullet, Bob, Leone, Guillermo.
Always a pleasure.
What a pleasure to have you. And folks, just remember this as you go to the weekend. Tough times out there. Don't try to think you can do more than you do. Just do your best and let God do the rest. You'll be okay.
Hey, can I do a shout out to my...
You got what?
Are we done?
Yeah, but we're still on social.
Yeah, we're still on social.
I just want to do a shout out to my compa Dave Ramirez. We're going to play golf today, and I'm going to be there as soon as I get out of here.
Yeah, David. I know David.
You know Dave for many years.
Now, who wins between you and Ramirez?
Oh, he's a great golfer.
Have you caught up over the years, though?
No. In fact, since I retired, I've been playing more golf, and I'm getting worse.
So it's like being a radio show.
As a golfer, I'm probably a better bowler.
I can relate. I started out, I was good. Now look at me.
Stop.
Hey, folks, appreciate y'all. God bless and love you.